I'm interviewing the writer James Best, who has a new book coming out, The Secret Agenda. Tell me about it.
Yes, this is The Secret Agenda. It's a story, and the premise of the story, written as a novel, is the inside job of 9/11. Now, of course, the definition of a conspiracy theory is a theory that's not supported by the facts. The only conspiracy theory involving 9/11 is the one put out by the government, that people who couldn't fly little Cessna jets somehow can take over complicated flight management computers and flight decks with little more than box cutters, and drive expertly, taking over the flight management computers of the Boeings into targets, whilst the American military do nothing about it. As an example, in the 9 months before 9/11, there were 67 intercepts of commercial airliners that had only slightly deviated from their flight path, and yet were intercepted. And even Andrews Air Base, and their website at the time of 9/11, boasted that they were only 10 miles from the Pentagon, and that they could scramble their F-15 and F-16 fighters in under 3 minutes, each of which had Sidewinder missiles, which had an 18-mile radius, so in effect you're up in the air in less than 3 minutes, bang, you're dead. And yet these aircraft are supposed to have gone to the Midwest, done 180-degree turns, and of course collided so expertly with their targets, whilst the military stood down. It's perhaps significant that at the time of 9/11, on the day itself, there was a war games operation called Operation Trojan. There was a FEMA exercise in New York. All coincidences, if you believe in coincidences. But it's written as a thriller. The main protagonist is John O'Rourke, a former defrocked priest who is now a journalist, happens to be the same protagonist and character as in my first novel, The Secret of the Scrolls. And he comes into possession of various evidence which suggests exactly how and why the events of 9/11 happened. And the events were clearly plotted, they're clearly available in advance by simply looking at the public policy documents, such as the Policy for the New American Century by Paul Wolfowitz, often referred to as the Wolfowitz Doctrine, and that clearly indicates they want to intervene in Middle East states, into sovereign states, to protect their position on gas and oil. And of course, in the Caspian Basin, it has the 3rd largest oil and gas reserves in the world. There's a lot of information that I've never seen in any other books about the events, and if you add up the engineers and architects' examination of matters such as the thermite, the military explosive found in the dust left by the events of 9/11, it does lead you to certain conclusions. The novel goes from Dubai to Afghanistan, the Balkans, London, Rome, Washington, and I hope keeps the reader enthralled. And so far the feedback from those who've read it have said how much they've enjoyed the novel, and I hope they enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed writing it.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm a lawyer by occupation. I used to run 3 practices with 25 staff and 9 lawyers working for me in South Wales. I brought up 2 children as a single parent. They were aged 8 and 6 at the time. I have 4 children in total now. I live with my second wife and my youngest son. I enjoy travelling. I've won prizes for writing. I know that Herbie Brennan kindly said in a quote and in his introduction to my first novel, he said, "James Best is a vivid writer, and his work will transport you into distant realms of place and mind. When you emerge, your soul will be better for the trip." And so you'll see that on the back of the cover, because I was so pleased that J.H. Brennan, the New York Times best-selling author, who's written over 100 books, was prepared to say that about my writing. So at the moment I still live in South Wales, although I love travelling, and I travel all over the world. I have a place in Spain, and I mainly do my writing when I'm travelling, because at home I'm busy with my legal practice. I enjoy mystical studies, and so have studied with some of the mystical writers, such as J.H. Brennan, such as Dolores Ashcroft Nowicki, who's written first about path workings and the Kabbalah, and whose writing I find so interesting, and of course Gareth Knight. So those are my hobbies. That's what I enjoy so much. And the significant thing about mystical studies is that you will notice on the front cover of the book that in fact the picture there is actually the Rider-Waite pack of the image of the tower. And significantly, of course, I deal in an epilogue with the archetypal significance of the towers as the target for the 9/11 events. So, again, I hope you'll understand that this was a work of passion for me. My writing is very much my passion. I hope that people will see it as a multi-layered novel written on different levels, as all good novels are. And I would appreciate any feedback from those that read the novel.